So this is where the market was when I started trading today. So immediately the first thing that I did was I drew this trend line from the lows right here, as you can see, and this is what you should always do when you first start to trade. You should always analyze your chart before you get to trading, because there is some sort of pattern unfolding in the morning session. And so this is where I was when I started trading, and this was, what was the time of this? 14:51, and the market opens here in Europe at 15:30. So at this point I'm thinking long only. I'm not particularly thinking short, even though we are at the upper trend line and prices move from low the trend line to the higher, basically acts like support and resistance, just slanted. So prices move from the upper trend line to the lower. So prices go, we got first entry, we got second entry, but I waited because we're not, you gotta wait to the key entry point, and prices didn't make it to the trend line here, as you can see. And you can see they trapped them. People, this is usually what happens at the open. You should probably not trade during the open, because they like to trap you some sort of at the open. So the best thing is, do not trade the open, because as you can see, people are looking at it as a first entry, second entry, and they get trapped. They even short. They get trapped. You could go. This is actually a good trap. You could go short, even though I wouldn't recommend this, because as you can see, the trend is higher. But this is what happens at the open. But you gotta wait till the prices get to key entry point. You cannot take just in the middle of no man's land. So the prices were moving lower like this, and this was the trade that I took. You should probably wait for this trade, because this is a first entry, second entry, we're below the EMA. This is the trade you should take, because we are still in this correction. We are still waiting for the new low of this trend line. This was the first break of the trend line, and this is the rule of the trend line. Once there is a break, you wait for a new low or new high. So this was the better trade. I took this trade right here, and looking back, I probably should have waited. I just thought, I might miss the trade, because as you can see, this is a little bit congestion. Prices are starting to stack up, so it's much better to wait for this breakout pullback. Prices are below the EMA. It's the second entry that failed. So this is where you should go long, where you should go short, pardon me. And then the prices were moving. I don't think you can take this trade. There is nothing really telling you that prices are going to go lower or higher. You can't tell. And we're kind of starting to bottoming out here. And here we are making first entry short, second entry short. This bearish bar triggered the low. This is where people who are trying to short, they went short on the second entry, because market moves in twos. Remember, market always moves in twos. But we already got a break and a new low, 2x to a new low. So I actually put my limit order. Once this bar break above this, I put the limit order, I think, right at the open or one tick behind, and I got left behind. I missed this trade. I actually wanted to take this, and I kind of kicked myself. I should have probably placed stop. But this is what happens in trading. Sometimes you get filled perfectly, sometimes you don't. You have to stay cool, calm, collected. You cannot get distracted by this. So this kind of hurt. But you don't want to go short. You don't want to go short here, even though it is a second entry. The trend lower already played out. The correction is already played out. So I was still thinking we might get a retest of this bigger uptrend. And this is what happened. First entry, second entry, all the short failed. Look at this nice bullish move up. We made a new high, or we attempted to make new high. A lot of times, when you make double top or double bottom, that may be enough. You may not specifically make new high. Right here, we came short just a few ticks, but you can count that as a new high. So We had a double bottom, double top at this point, and I don't think there is any setup here. Prices are making lower highs now, as you can see. This was a kind of good trade. Prices pulled back below this EMA. They take it higher, trapped everybody who was looking at this as a double bottom. The bar was a little bit big though. I didn't take this trade. The bar was too big for me to, because I like to use limit order on these big bars, so I wouldn't have gotten filled anyways. And the prices went lower, they rocketed down lower. And as you can see, look at this area. It acted as a resistance at one point, and now it acts as a support, and now again as a resistance. Prices do this. Prices act like this. Sometimes they act as a resistance, and sometimes they act as a support. So you gotta pay attention. You gotta find these key levels. You can always come back and find these key levels. You know, here we can see one more key level. And look! Ah, never mind. It's still this level. But you know, this may come into play later on. So I don't think there's any setup here. I didn't take any of these trades. There's not a good setup to go long. Horrible signal bar. This is not a bad signal bar. Some of you might have taken this, but I wasn't feeling it. And look how we shot through the EMA, pulled back. But this is only first entry. But you could have taken this. He kind of made a new high already. We break new high. So there is now time for correction. The prices are working lower. First entry, prices pull back, and second entry. This would have been a great trade. The signal bar is horrible. But as you can see, the support is the holding now. We bounced with the support here, the previous support and previous resistance. This would have been a great trade. I'm gonna still mark it anyways. But you know, the signal bar is so bad, you really can't take this. When you're looking at this like this, yeah, even though we bounce here, there is no way you can actually take this. Look at this. This is horrible. And now it's too late. Now the bar is too big. Your stop goes way down here. You cannot take this. Unfortunately, you missed this trade. And this is where I went long. You know, I drew this trend line, two-legged pullback to the support. I kind of, hey, we might have a trend line here, we might have a bounce. So I drew, even though it doesn't fit that well from the top, I just thought, hey, if we get a bounce, I will take this. And sure enough, we did. We had a first entry. This bullish bar is a first entry, but you gotta wait. You gotta wait. See, the ES is so efficient. They trap everybody on the first entry right here, just a few things below, and then they pull it higher. You know, you gotta wait for these second entries, as the rules say right here. First entry, second entry. This was a good trade, just enough for the scalp. You don't want to take this long already. Prices are kind of starting to stack up like here. You know, we're starting to. We didn't rocket higher. The prices should have went higher, and the fact that we didn't tell you that. You know, look at how we can barely move higher. The prices are struggling to move higher. So I don't think you want to take this short. First entry, second entry, but I don't think you want to take this. Even though you probably could have. Now looking at back, first entry, second entry. But I don't know. So the prices were moving higher. There is a double top here, almost a triple top. Double top here, triple test. You could have taken this. You could have short this. I'm gonna mark it because it is a first entry short, second entry short, double top. Prices are now in the range. This is clear range now. You know, there is no significant trend up and down, up or down. We're moving lower, correction break, new low, horrible signal bar to go long. This is a good short. Look at this. You got a trend line walking higher. You always gotta draw the short-term trend lines. The short-term trend lines will help you in a small trading ranges like this, even in the bigger trading ranges like this. Don't just rely on these big trend lines. Use your shorter-term trend lines. Rules apply the same as the longer-term ones. When there is a break of the trend line, the new low or new high will almost always be retested. Of course, you know, nothing in price action is 100%. You know, markets are random to a certain point, but majority of the time you will get a break and a new low or new high. As happened here, we're looking at a break, new high. This is a first entry short, pull back higher, second entry short. Second entry short triggered here. So what I would have done, I would have placed a limit order here and waited if I could have gone filled. So this is where you want to go short. And the prices move down here. Now it's almost 9 o'clock, which for me is already too late to trade. But you might be considering going long here because the prices are bouncing off this support now. So this was today. This was a little bit tricky for today because I really wanted to go long here, but I really waited for the bounce of the trend line because you've got to wait for the key entry point. You cannot take just every second entry you see. It's got to be at the support or resistance, or got to be at the trend line. So they trapped everybody nicely. Even the little bit pullback here. And this is what happens at the open. This is, if you're not that advanced, you really shouldn't take trade at the open because there's almost always some kind of trap at the open. They will always try to trick you at the open. This was my mistake when I was first trading. I've almost always made a losing trade at the open because that's how market works. This is why only a few people are profitable at this, because it's designed to trick you. The common sense will not help you in this business. That's for sure. So that's for today. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. Just remember, keep waiting for those key entry points. Draw your trend lines. Draw your support and resistance lines. And wait for the proper setup. Be patient. Yeah, if you like this, please like the video, subscribe for more, and safe trading. Bye guys.